Hi, my little babies. Welcome back to another episode of What the Smut Movie Reviews. In today's video, we are going to be reviewing the first book in RuNyx. Idiot. The first book in RuNyx's Dark Verse series, and it is called The Predator. Okay. Now. I've been waiting a long time for this book. I'm not gonna lie. Ignore me while I look up the deeds for the book, because I didn't do that ahead of time because I'm a loser. RuNyx, The Predator. Okay. Get in there. Go. Okay. All right. Now, I've been looking forward to this book for a really long time. Most of you guys know that the majority of my book intake these days is strictly audio. Unfortunately, I have like zero time to physically read. Like literally, by the time I sit down at night to have 30 seconds to myself, I'm like drooling on myself, okay? So trying to read on my Kindle, it ain't happening. I've had the same book like on my Kindle for like 2 months. Like open in the middle of being read for like 2 months. Do I remember anything that's going on in that book? No. But I should probably start from the beginning, shouldn't I? Probably. I won't tell you which book because I don't want the author to feel bad. As if she would ever watch these videos anyway. Now, let's talk about the deeds for this book. Because this book just recently, when I say recently, I mean like the last like, I don't know, month or two, I can't remember, came out in audio. Prior to that, I had not gotten a chance to read it yet. Now, I've listened to the audio for this book. And I have some thoughts. I do have some thoughts. But we're going to do the deeds for the book first, and then we'll read the blurb, and then we'll try and break it down cohesively and quickly. I emphasize the word quickly, but we'll see. This book and all the books in this series are free to read with Kindle Unlimited. If you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read this entire series for free. If you want to purchase this book for your Kindle, you can get it for the price of $4.99 on Amazon. If you want to own this lovely trade paperback, did you hear my wrist just pop? Dear God, I'm dying. I'm literally, you can insert that clip of the zombie from Return of the Living Dead where she's like, I can feel myself rot. That's me. If you want this lovely trade paperback, which, like, let's be honest, the covers for these books are stunning. They're so unlike anything I've seen ever. Now, okay, what's hot right now is like flowers on literally everything. Like an explosion of flowers everywhere. And like something to do with like snakes. Like, I don't know why, but like every book has flowers and fucking snakes on it or some shit, okay? No. These books are like already could be considered discreet covers because obviously they don't have any nakedness on the front. But they were released originally this way. They weren't redone. And these covers are such a beautiful blending of images. They're like seamlessly blended. But they're just, you can, as you can see, there's like multiple things. There's so many things going on here that you would think it would be too busy, but it's not. It's perfect. It's fine. It's great. Now, this book is also available in audio, obviously. I just talked about it. Oh wait, did I say? If you want this beautiful trade paperback that I'm holding, you can currently get it on Amazon for the price of $13.49. That's a fucking steal, yo. Because most trade paperbacks are like $17, $18. $13? Don't walk, run, okay? Now, this book is also available in audio. I did the audio. It is narrated by, how do you say that? Kai Kennicott and Michael Pierce. When I first heard that, I thought it was like male because I was like, Kai? Sounds like a dude's name. But I guess not, because the book did have a male and female narrator. So there you go. Now, I'm going to read you guys the blurb from the back of the book, because if I have it, I should, right? And then we'll jump into my notes really quick, because I'm already 7 minutes in and I haven't said shit about shit. So, typical. Typical. Now, what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object in the field of death? It already sounds like... in the dark underbelly of the mob, Tristan Kane has been an anomaly. As the only non-blooded member in the high circle of the Tenebrae outfit, he is an enigma to all, his skills unparalleled, his morality questionable, and his motives unknown. He is lethal, and he knows it. As does Morana Vitalio, the genius extraordinaire daughter of the rival family. What Kane does with weapons, Morana does with computers. When a 20-year-old mystery resurfaces, Morana infiltrates Kane's house, intent on killing him, unaware of a tie that binds them together. Hate, heat, and history clash together with unexpected sparks. But something bigger, something worse is happening in their world, and despite their animosity, only they can fight it down. I started my notes in my trusty reading journal. These were my notes. What a nightmare. I started my notes with saying, book opens to Morana sneaking into Tristan's house. That is actually not correct. At the beginning of the book, there is like a little snippet that involves something to do with the two heads of the rival families, and there being like some deal that was struck regarding like what I want to call like human trafficking of children. So that's actually how the book opens. But my notes, we'll just read from where I started, which says, book opens to Morana sneaking into party at rival mob's house, looking for thumb drive with codes that could be destructive in the wrong hands. Stolen by ex-boyfriend Jackson, thinks he was working for rival fam. my shorthand. Gets caught by Tristan Kane, adopted son of rival boss. He looks to have no knowledge of drive. Lets her go. Which is accurate. He does. She goes into the party disguised. She's wearing a wig. She doesn't look anything like herself. So she breaks into his house, intent on looking for this thumb drive that has been stolen by her ex-boyfriend. Morana is like a computer genius / hacker person. And she, even though she's the daughter of one of the city's biggest mob bosses, she isn't like a lot of the other daughters that are portrayed in like mafia books, where they're meek and submissive and do as daddy tells them to do, etc., etc. No, She's very in your face and ballsy, and she doesn't take shit. But at the same time, she has her moments of like vulnerability. Tristan, on the other hand, is a literal statue. He's so unemotional that it borders on sociopathy. Like he's dead inside for all intents and purposes. That's the way he looks. He's dead. He's a deadhead. So she breaks into his house intent on looking for these codes that she developed that are in some way, which it didn't really in the first book, it didn't really explain in depth what these codes do. All it said was that they could be very dangerous in the wrong hands. What I'm assuming is that they're going to do something regarding like taking down banking systems or like something, you know what I mean? Like something uber destructive. So these codes that she created, or this coding that she created, has been stolen by her ex-boyfriend Jackson. She hacks into his shit and traces his like payments and shit that he was getting paid to do. She thinks he's getting paid to do this by Tristan Kane and the other outfit. So in the book, they just refer to that side of the mob as the outfit. And then I forget what her side is called. I forget. Anyway, it'll come back. Hopefully. Hopefully it'll come back to us. So she thinks that Tristan, according to all the paperwork, Tristan paid Jackson to steal these codes. Someone is setting him up. And until Morana breaks into his house, he has no fucking idea what's happening. When she breaks into his house and accuses him of paying Jackson to steal these codes, at first he claims he doesn't recognize her. Then when recognition sets in, he exudes an immediate, ridiculously outrageous level of hostility towards her. She has no idea why he hates her so much. But even with that hatred, he lets her go and tells her to sneak out this entrance. Otherwise, you're going to get caught by the guards and you're going to get killed. He literally just lets her walk away. So, anyway. So, yeah. Later, Jackson lures her to warehouse where she's ambushed by Tristan and Dante. And then in parentheses, I put actual son of boss. They claim not to know who Jackson gave codes to. Jackson is killed. Well, fuck Jackson. He was a piece of shit anyway. She agrees to work with Dante, not Tristan, to find and destroy the codes. Okay. So at this meeting, she's basically lured by Jackson to this like abandoned warehouse area. Why she'd go there alone to meet with her ex-boyfriend who stole from her, I don't know, because that sounds sus as fuck. What are you thinking, girl? Do you have any brains in your head? It's okay, neither do I. So she goes to this meeting that she thinks is with Jackson. He's being very like hidey hole, like peeking through a little hidey hole through the thing, right? She gets in there and she's confronted by Dante and Tristan. Dante is the outfit's like prodigal son. He is the, for all intents and purposes, he appears to be the heir. He's the biological son of the main mob boss for the outfit. Tristan is not. Tristan is the son of one of the boss's men. And he was taken in by the boss and trained the same way Dante was trained, put through a whole rigmarole of terrible shit. to make him into this hardened thug that he is today. Some people suspect that it's because he plans on handing the reins of the outfit over to Tristan instead of Dante, but that still, as of where I am right now, still remains unclear, because it still looks like Dante is going to inherit the mantle that his father's currently carrying. So, yeah. So she's met with Tristan and Dante and basically told Dante is Tristan's polar opposite. Whereas Dante is clearly a made man, he's not cruel to her. He's not disrespectful. He's not in any way misogynist, or, you know, he's like the lovable one that you wanna you can tell that he's got shit going on with him under the surface, and you want to peel his layers like an onion. But it doesn't give very much of Dante in the first book. By the end of this book, I was chomping at the bit for Dante's book. I was like, Tristan who? But no. I take that back. I won't say that. But she agrees to work with Dante to find the flash drive with the codes, because she feels a sense of guilt that she created these codes to begin with, and that in the wrong hands, they could do serious damage to someone. So she feels like a moral obligation to locate them. And so she agrees to help Dante look for the codes. She doesn't want to work with Tristan at all. She gets a very hateful vibe from Tristan. He's mean to her. She doesn't know why. She doesn't know what she did to deserve his anger. He doesn't tell her what she did to deserve his anger. He literally just mean mugs her through the entire fucking book. He has one or two, like, very small moments of where you get to see past the veil. But for the majority of the book, that's literally what he does. He mean mugs her. He doesn't speak 10 words through the first half of the book. That was one of my gripes. But we're gonna get to it. So, okay, where did I leave off? Okay, he climbs up to her window at night. They tussle. They tussle. And obviously I'm talking about Tristan now. She puts knife to his throat. He deliberately cuts himself on his hand with it to get it away from his face, basically. She goes to nightclub run by the outfit to meet Dante. Now, during this little scene where he like breaks into her bedroom, he's doing it just because he can. Like, he's just proving to her, I can get to you anywhere you are. Even with your father's men patrolling the grounds and your room locked up tighter than a virgin's vag, I can get in there without being seen or without having paid someone. These people that you think work for your father actually work for me. But I will get to you. And he tells her specifically, your death is mine. It's mine to deliver. When your time comes, I will be the one to kill you. I'm not going to let anyone else kill you, because that would take the satisfaction away from me. He's mean to her, dude. Like, he's really mean. Okay. So, obviously Tristan is at the club with Dante. Okay. Dante gives her a flash drive with all info they found regarding codes and why Tristan is what they know about Tristan being framed, which is a whole bunch of jackdiddles. They don't know much. He basically gives her the drive and tells her, hey, get what you can off of this. These may be some leads, they may not be some leads, but this is all that we have on this situation. When you're done, I'll get the flash drive back from you. While she's at the club, she goes downstairs and she orders an orange juice from the bartender, who gives her a fishy look to begin with, and then she still drinks the juice. And I wanted to smack her upside the head because I could see the drugging coming from a mile away. I was like, bitch, what is you doing? He just gave you a stank look. You're in a bar that is literally devoted to your enemy family, and you're gonna take a drink off of this guy? And then you're like, oh, she literally says in like her inner monologue, oh no, I would never take alcohol from a guy who looks at me like that. But you'll take orange juice? Any of these things can be drugged. It's not just booze. Morana. Oh, Morana. That's not, I had my moments where I was like, her name has special meaning for RuNyx because sometimes she does dumb shit. But okay. So homeboy at the bar spikes her drink. She starts to feel woozy. Tristan basically like saves her, gets her away from the bar and into like a private room where she is taken care of by Amara, who is very quite clearly from the jump Dante's love interest. Although she is just like given off to like being a family friend, or like, oh, I was raised within the life and close to the family, but I'm not family, right? Amara's story is, her backstory is like very tragic. She was taken. She was violated by some guys in her youth, and Dante and Tristan viciously murdered them. But she was basically shunned or like banished from being able to come into the family home, or like to the outskirts of the city. She was basically banished. She doesn't get to see her mother like very often. She knows she has family, but she can't interact with them. She's been banished from the life, basically. She still hangs out with Tristan and Dante because you can't tell Tristan and Dante shit. So, there you go. Someone is following Tristan, intercepts and runs them off the road. Has irrational hatred towards her, but constantly there. That's what I wrote. He has an irrational hatred towards her, but he's constantly there. Every time you turn around, this motherfucker's in her face. But you claim to hate me. Why do you want to see me so much? And then I literally wrote, why he's so obsessed? Dante calls next day and asks her to bring Drive back when finished. Her father doubles her security detail to have her followed, which is another thing. Anytime she leaves the house, her father has her followed by like a security detail. He wants more than wanting to protect her. He's doing it to keep tabs on her. Her father hates her. It's not like an open, well, up to the end of the book, it doesn't appear to be like an open hatred, like the way Tristan has. But it's more of like a disapproving father look, but like times 1,000. Disapproving father personality times 1,000. Anytime she gets out of the house, she ditches the security detail. She has like a Mustang that's like her pride and joy, that's her baby. And she literally will just floor it and lose her security detail. It's a point of contention between her and her father. He doesn't like it, but she also doesn't give him a choice. And he doesn't, I would expect for him to basically put her on lockdown and not allow her out of the house. But she basically tells him to his face, you won't keep me here. If I want to get out, I'll find a way out. You can't stop me from doing what I want to do. Go fuck yourself. And he just takes it. Like, he grudgingly, he puts on like a nasty stank face, and he has like his little barbs that he swipes at her or whatever. But for the most part, he just takes it. Because what are you gonna do? She's literally like a wildcat. She's like a hellion. She does whatever the fuck she wants. Which I appreciated, because I lived vicariously through her. Now, what else did I say? Okay. She can't shake her security detail. Has to call Tristan after Dante doesn't pick up. He comes, thwarts another attempt on her life. Her car tires are slashed and it's storming. She has to stay at his apartment. So she goes to like the parking garage of where Dante lives. Turns out Tristan lives in that same building. So does Amara, just on different floors. Dante's nowhere to be found. He's like dealing with urgent outfit business. And so she has to give the drive to Tristan. He saves her life again. And then after leaving the parking garage, he takes her up to his penthouse apartment and lets her stay in his guest room. They have moment by rainy window in middle of the night. Goes out to dinner with father and men. Tristan there in restaurant. Text taunts her into disobedience. Goes to bathroom to cool off. He follows. Says he wants her. Ridiculously hot bathroom sex. So, it's a lot transpires between then and then. So, essentially, they have like a little moment in the middle of the night. It's storming and she can't sleep. So she goes out of the guest room to like, his apartment is like all glass. And she just sits down and like watches the rain through the thing. And he comes out and like leans down next to her and makes a comment about his sister loving thunderstorms or like rainstorms. And up to this point, she did not know he even had a sister. The tone of what he says clearly implies his sister is gone. Whether it's missing or deceased or whatever, he's clearly pining for her and he misses her. And he like allows her a moment of like vulnerability to see like the real him. Then he quickly shuts it back down. Later, she goes out to dinner with her father, who commands her presence at a restaurant that is more for his people than it is for the outfits people. But Tristan and Dante happen to be there at the same time, either meeting or eating or whatever. By this time, they have each other's numbers, and he's like texting her, taunting her, like to have like an outburst at the table. Because there's a guy sitting next to her who's pawing all over her, and her dad's not doing shit about it. And Tristan's putting it off as like telling her like have some respect for yourself, that type of situation, but clearly he's jealous. Like we know he's jealous. So eventually she does have a little outburst, and she like has to excuse herself to go to the bathroom and to like chill. And he follows her into the women's bathroom, locks the door, and then fucks her brains out on the counter. Like, listen, the bathroom sex, the imagery that was described, it was a very volatile, very angry sex. Like it was hate fucking on mostly his part, but kind of both of them, because she's angry at him for goading her and he's angry at her for whatever unknown reason, and they end up having sex. But the imagery, the way that it was described, was like, girl. It was hot. It was fucking hot. So they have sex. There's like guards standing right outside the door. Her father's men are like banging on the door. Miss Morana, you need to come out. Your father requests your presence back at the table. And then eventually like her father is like, you've sulked for long enough, get out. And then he goes back to the table and she has to walk out, leaving Tristan in there to find a way to get out on his own without getting caught. Goes to the bathroom, okay. So after they get back to the house, her father appears to be in like an angry, he's like enraged. What were you doing with Tristan Kane? Why were you looking at each other in the restaurant? Blah, blah, blah. They argue. They get to the top of the stairs and he essentially lets her fall down the stairs deliberately. She's busted to shit. But she manages to get up and walk out of the house. She has nowhere else to go but to Tristan's apartment. She has no one else to rely on. He protects her from father, stays at apartment. Knowing it would cause a war, after he sees what her father did to her, he socks her father right in the face. Even knowing that it's going to cause a huge blow up, he does it anyway. He's very contradictory, this guy. Mixed signals to the max. So he leaves the apartment. She follows him. Wants info on breaking of alliance. Got text from unknown number with article about abductions. Realizes his sister was one of the missing girls. So was she. Okay. But she was returned. So remember I said in the beginning there was like a thing that was clearly like something to do with like child abductions or like human trafficking of children? So many years ago, there was a rash of little girls who just went missing. Toddler age girls, like small children, who were abducted. And out of all of the girls, only one of them ever came home alive. And it was Morana. Tristan's sister was also taken, was one of those girls that was taken, and she was never seen again. Morana thinks that that's why he hates her so much, because she survived and his sister didn't. When he goes out, she follows him. He ends up at a casino. She literally walks right into the middle of the casino, not knowing what is going on, who runs it, what's happening. She ends up at a table with him, basically playing like a version of like Russian roulette, where you get to, it's where you play for information. And you ask your opponent a question. If they refuse to answer, you shoot them. Or you get to pull the trigger of the gun, whether it goes off or not, whatever. She asks him several questions, which he answers vaguely. She's trying to gather more information about this alliance that was between the two families like 20 years ago. Something happened. There was an event, a catalyst that broke the alliance that was formed. She doesn't know what that catalyst was, and she wants to know. And she thinks he's the only person that will give her the information. So she tries to get the info out of him this way. It does not work. Instead, he ends up shooting her. It's like a flesh wound on her arm. But after they get out of there, he's livid. He's mad. He's very mad. But later, angry shower sex. They got a thing with bathrooms, these two. She goes out, comes back to car in lot, and hears beeping. Bomb under her car. So she drives out to just get away and think. She ends up at this place that she likes to go to near the airport. It's a cemetery. It's isolated and quiet, except for the sound of the planes overhead. And so she'll lay there and just look up at the planes and like feel the vibration as they take off and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it clears her mind and makes her feel more at peace. So she goes there and she's in the cemetery. And as she's walking, she gets a call from her father. And they're arguing on the phone. And she's like, motherfucker, you threw me down some stairs. What the fuck do you want? And he basically tells her, you're dead to me. I will take you out. Because she bluffs and says she knows about the alliance. She knows everything. Tristan told her, is what she basically alludes to. And he basically says, well, then you've signed your death warrant and his by just having this information. And he basically tells her he's going to take her out. After the combo, she's rattled. And she's making her way back to her Mustang. When she sees like a faint, like flashing underneath her car. And when she looks underneath, she can see that there's a bomb strapped to the bottom of her car. So she runs for it. The bomb goes off. She's thrown a little ways, but she survives. She's fine. Shortly after that, 2 men show up. Clearly, they work for her father. They go to inspect the car to see if she's in there, if she's dead. And she has a gun with her that she carries everywhere. But she knows, I shoot one, the other one will shoot me. Like, there's no way I'm going to be able to shoot both of them at the same time. So she knows that the gas tank of her car has not exploded. So she waits until the men are close, and then she shoots the gas tank of her car and blows them up. They both die, obviously. She's shaken. She needs help. She doesn't want to call Tristan. She knows Tristan will be angry that she went here, that she's left. So she calls Amara, which is the only other person who's been nice to her throughout this entire fucking book. And Amara's like, where are you? I'll be there in 10 minutes. Whatever, 10, 20 minutes. She shows up. She gives her some water. She listens to her vent, tell her what happened. And then Amara basically tells her what happened 20 years ago that broke the alliance. Amara tells her basically Tristan's big secret, which was that, which takes place in the form of a flashback scene. So we see Tristan when he's like 8 years old. It flashes back to him being in the boss's house. He snuck in and he's witnessing a meeting from like the shadows between the boss, Dante's father, and the boss of the rival family, Morana's father. His wife is there and Morana is there. Morana is a baby. She's like literally like 2 years old, 2 or 3 years old. And they're surrounded by men. And this meeting is taking place directly after Morana has been found after her abduction. She's a googly-eyed baby. She doesn't remember. She has no recollection of anything bad happening to her. Like, babies have like very short attention spans when they're that young. But he sneaks in to overhear what's going on because his sister was taken. I think it says like 17 days ago or 14 days, something like that. And she hasn't been found. And his father is angry and demanding to know how Morana was located, but his daughter hasn't been located. So this meeting's happening, and at one point, Tristan makes eye contact with Morana as a baby. And he sees that she's just like his little sister. Fun, vivacious, cute, in need of protecting. And he feels a connection to the little girl. His father, on the other hand, is irate and demands to know, how did you find her? And Morana's father basically says, we didn't find her. She was basically dropped back off on our doorstep, which is a story no one buys. Okay. His father, irate, pulls a gun on Morana and says, why should your daughter get to live if my daughter hasn't? And he's very close to shooting the baby unless her father gives him the answers he's looking for. Tristan steps out from behind the little alcove where he's hiding. And I don't remember how he had the gun. I don't know if it was his father's extra gun or if he picked it up from somewhere. I don't know. But he essentially shoots. He has no choice. He feels like he has no choice but to shoot his own father to protect Morana, because he doesn't want the baby to die. He doesn't realize he's killed his father until after it's done. He thinks he's just fired like a warning shot or whatever, but in actuality, he murdered his father. His mother runs in. Tristan's mother comes in. I think she's like the housekeeper for the family or something like that. She comes in and she sees her husband dead on the floor and Tristan holding a gun. And when she says, what happened? Who did this? The boss looks at her and says, your son did it. Your son shot him. And she turns on her own son and basically disowns him. I don't ever want to see you again. Get out of my sight type situation. From that moment on, Tristan is dead inside. He feels nothing. He shuts down all of his emotions and he becomes like a mask. Like he puts on a mask and he feels nothing. The boss comes to him and is like, well, you're kind of savage. But it's this incident that, or these circumstances, whatever's going on with these little girls, is what caused the breaking of the alliance. So that happens in a flashback scene from Tristan's POV. That is the only chapter from his POV through the entire book. At the end, I'm gonna gripe. But flashback to present, Morana is absorbing this information as if it's been told to her by Amara. And she's clearly very upset at the fact that Tristan sacrificed his entire family to save her life. And that's why he hates her so much. So Amara leaves her there because she's like, I'll be fine. Just go. Leave me here. I need to think some more. Amara leaves her. Shortly after that, Tristan shows up. He sees two more men. Morana's now hiding. And he sees two more men snooping around the blown up car and looking at the two charred bodies of her dad's other guards. These new two men clearly also work for her father. So she sees Tristan. It starts to rain. She sees Tristan in very tightly controlled anger, saying, where is she? Demanding to know where Morana is. He has a gun pulled on both the men. He's already shot one, like the kneecap or something. Where is she? They're like, we don't know. Okay. She comes out of hiding. He tells the men to get out of there because they're like, we have families, and they give him like the sob story. And he shows mercy and he says, get the fuck out of here. And then he's standing there with his back to her and she comes out of hiding. And he turns around and points the gun at her. And she basically says to him in not so many words, I know why you hate me. I know you saved my life. I know you lost your entire family to save my life. I'm gonna give you one opportunity, and one opportunity only, right now, to kill me. Take your vengeance. Feel better. But if you don't ever threaten my life again. And he holds the gun on her for a hot second. And then she thinks he's gonna shoot her, so she closes her eyes. And then instead of feeling the gunshot, she feels him kiss her. This moment was what I was dying for. Because through this entire book, they have not kissed. Even when they had sex the previous times, they did not kiss. He would not kiss her. Now they're at the end of the book. He kisses her in the rain. And he drops the gun. Later on, she's in the guest room of the penthouse of his apartment. And it's the middle of the night. And she wakes up and she hears him enter her room. He comes and sits next to her on the bed. And that's where the book ends. It was not, okay, you know I don't read blurbs, right? I'm terrible about this. I don't. It was not until this moment when I realized that this book was part of a duet and ended on a cliffhanger. Can you hear my daughter? Yeah, that was my reaction too. She's like screeching at the top of her lungs. I didn't know that The Predator and The Reaper, which is part 2 of this series, are both books about the same couple. Because through this entire book, I was literally thinking to myself, why isn't he talking? How am I supposed to emotionally attach to a character that I know nothing about? He literally seems, for the majority of the first book, he seems like a total deadhead. There is nothing going on behind here. Yes, you get 2 or 3 little sprinklings of emotion, but for the most part, you're just like, what is his deal? So I came to the end of this book. I would think I was like maybe 3/4 of the way through. And I was literally talking to a friend on Bookstagram and I was like, I don't understand the Tristan Kane hype. Because I see posts about him constantly on Instagram. Like he's clearly a fan favorite. I was like, unless the rest of the book has him literally pouring his heart out to her, I don't understand the hype surrounding this man. Because he has not said 10 words to this bitch the entire time. And what he has says is just mean. She was like, oh my God, be patient. I was like, have you met me? No, I can't. I'm sorry. Towards the end of the book, that last scene in the rain, he got me. And I was like, all right, I'm good now. It's fine. I'll give him time, let him process. Let me process. And so that's where the book ends. For the rating for this book, I think I would give it, you can tell I don't pre-think about these things. I think I would give it a solid 8.5. I think I would give it a higher rating if it had more male POV. And that's just a personal preference. I love books with male POV. I don't know if it's a trend that continues through all of RuNyx's books, but Gothicana was very much like that as well. It had virtually no male POV. I think there was like 3 chapters. This book had literally 1 chapter of male POV. And I like books with male POV. I like getting inside the main male character's head. I need to know what he's thinking. I need to know what he's feeling. It's the only way I'm going to attach to you emotionally and become invested in this situation. The fact that this book does not have a lot of that made it difficult for me to attach myself to Tristan. I think in the second half of the duet, in the Reaper, that will probably change. But it wasn't up until the end scene that's when I was like, okay. I can see a glimmer of what everybody's so on about, right? So yeah. I took a shit ton more notes, which I have not read. But I basically just told you what happens. But I did end I took 4 pages of notes, by the way. I did end it with book ends, cliffhanger. I was mad. You can tell I was upset. But I would give this book a solid 8.5. I think it was a good start to the series. If you know anything about me and my reading preferences, then you will know that the first book in every series always turns out to be my least favorite. I don't know why that is. It's something in my brain is like wired incorrectly. But we're gonna see, because I have high hopes for part 2. I want to see how it's gonna unfold. I want to see more of a connection grow between Tristan and Morana. And I want Dante and Amara. Like, from what I've been told, Tristan and Morana's book being 2 books is the only one in the series that's like that. All of the other ones are like standalone one-shot deals. So that's good, because for me, I don't like reading duets or trilogies or, God forbid, 5 books about the same couple. I'm looking at you, Lucia Franco. Because it's just so much time and emotional investment. And especially with how bad my trash brain is, I can't remember the plot to 5 books about the same couple. I can't remember the plot about 3 books about the same couple. I had to do this review alone, as opposed to waiting until I read the Reaper and doing them together. Since they're technically about the same 2 people, I had to do this one alone because I knew I would not remember any of the plot to this if I waited. But yeah, I think that's it. I've like given myself a hot flash because I've been like talking so long without taking a breath. But I would give the book a solid 8.5. I feel like as a whole, putting the 2 books together, there's so much potential already just for the first half that I think going into the second half, I do have very high hopes, and I'm gonna see what happens because I'm into it now. And I need to know. So yeah, I think that's it. I would definitely recommend this book to other people. I think it's a good kickoff to the series, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. So yeah, I would recommend it to other people, as long as, if you like mafia, if you like dark themes, if you're not easily triggered by things like abduction, sex trafficking, or, like child exploitation, that kind of thing. I guess also some themes of domestic violence, if you consider her father throwing her down the stairs. But there you go. If you're not easily triggered by those things, then yes, I would definitely recommend this book to you. I think that's it. I'm done. I'm gonna leave now. It's been an hour. Dear God, it's been an hour. I've talked for an hour. Okay. If you enjoyed this video, if you like me and you like my channel, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. If you would like, you can follow me on social media. I will link them all in the description box below, and I'll put a little thing here on the screen for you guys to see. If you're interested in checking out some of my bookish merch, I do have a Teespring shop, which I will link below, as well as put a little link here on the screen for you guys to see. And I think that's it. I'm done. I love you so much. Thank you so much for joining me for another video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye. I just covered this book in highlighter. Well, howdy babies. Welcome back to another episode of What the Smut Book Reviews. My name's Candice. Thank you so much for joining me. I don't know why I put on this southern accent. The book we're reviewing has absolutely no southern in it whatsoever. Okay. Now. Oh, I'm such a spaz. Okay, anyway. Okay, now. There's rabbit fluff everywhere in here. Okay. All right. I thought for a second I read that wrong. I had to double check. Okay, now. Okay. Lord have mercy. I'm done. That's it. I'm done. Predator. Done. Done. Sweating. I am literally sweating. It's so fucking hot in here. Oh my God, I still have to do my review for the fine print and Twisted Love. Oh dear God, I'm never going to catch up on books. Okay, I love you guys so much. I'll see you later because I can't. I gotta go. Bye. Good.